MC Press Online presents Video Tutorials with Joe Pluta. Video Tutorial Volume 1, WDSC Basics. Tutorial number 3, Opening any source member using the Open Member dialog. This third tutorial is directed towards the more impatient among us, those who want to dive right into the editing features of WDSC. And while we won't actually cover the features of the editor in this tutorial, I will show you how to quickly open any source member on your machine, as well as introduce you to some of the helpful UI features of WDSC. You should have already started up WDSC using the workspace you've been using for the tutorials up to this point. Your workbench should look like what you see on the screen. I had perspective showing in the upper right, fast view toolbar in the lower left, the remote systems detail view open. If your workspace isn't already open, please pause the video and do so. Now it's time to open a member. You can open any member on your System I if you know where it's located. If you know the library, source file, and member name, you're just a couple of clicks away. First, bring up the remote systems view by clicking on the fast view icon. If the PBD host connection is not already expanded, expand it now, and then right-click on the iSeries Objects entry, and from the pop-up menu, select Open Member. This will bring up the Open Member dialog. You'll see that the connection defaults to your only connection, PBD host. If you had multiple connections, you'd see them in the drop-down, or you could create a new one by clicking on the New button. Note also that there are fields for library, field, file, and member. Each of these is a drop-down, and we'll see more about those drop-downs in a minute. Each field also has a Browse button, which basically allows you to browse your System I to find a member. However, since that's really what the remote systems view does, I'm not going to spend any more time on that. This is for a quick access. So instead, I want you to enter the library, file, and member name of a source file. The library name defaults to curlib, but that's not the member I want you to open. Instead, I want you to open the proof of concept source member that ships with the ILE RPG compiler. That source member is named proof, and it resides in the source file qrpgle source in library qgpl. So, enter qgpl as the library name, tab to the file name, and enter qrpglesrc as the file name. Tab to the member name and enter proof, P-R-O-O-F. You'll notice that there are two radio buttons, one for edit mode and one for browse mode. Since this is an IBM supplied source member and I don't want to accidentally change it, I will select open for browse and then hit the OK button. At this point in time, if I'm not already logged in, it's going to ask me for my user ID and password, which I enter and press OK. You'll see that it's connecting to the host, and as soon as it's done connecting, the member will then be opened, and voila, here is the RPG source code. Note that when the source member is opened, the remote systems view automatically disappears, which is nice because that means you can immediately start editing. Of course, since we open this member in browse mode, you won't be able to edit anything, but that's okay. We're not ready to start in on the editing features just yet. Instead, let's open another member. To open another member, you could bring up the RSE view. Again, right-click on the iSeries Objects icon, select Open Member, or we can just use the magic shortcut key Control-Shift-A. Hold down the Control and Shift keys and press the letter A, and up pops the Open Member dialog. This time, we want to open the RPG38 verification source, which is also in QGPL, so we can leave that. But the file is qrpg source, qrpgsrc, and the name of the member is proof38. So you can type in proof38. Again, select browse mode and hit OK. Now you'll see that both members are open when it gets around to opening it. Proof38 and proof. Again, we'll talk about the editing in another tutorial. Up until this point, the Open Member dialog has been sort of a GUI equivalent of prompting the Start SEU command. But now it gets interesting. Hit Control-Shift-A again, and the Open Member dialog reappears. The last tip in this tutorial is the drop-down history feature, which is common throughout WDSC. Not only does WDSC remember your selections in a history, but it even allows you to maintain that history a little bit like a favorites option in a browser. For example, go to the member name drop-down and hit the down arrow, and you will see options Proof 38 and Proof. These are the options in the order that you entered them, most recent first. And while this sort of simple memory is a nice feature, it would be even nicer if you could maintain that history. And in WDSC you can. Take a look at the upward triangle to the right of the drop-down, and if you click on that, this will bring up the Work with History dialog. In this dialog, you can remove members, move them around, reorder them how you like it, and make it so that the options you need most are readily available. This is just one of the many usability features of the WDSC GUI. You'll find this and other capabilities throughout the tool. So hit cancel on the Work with History, hit cancels on the Open Member in Editor, and we're done for this tutorial. In our next installment, I really will show you how to configure your session. This has been an MC Press Online production. This has been a Pluta Brothers design tutorial.